biggest in the history of the NHS. Across the North East and North Cumbria, thousands of people will be vaccinated at our dedicated COVID-19 vaccination centres. To make it happen, your NHS needs your help. There are hundreds of new jobs and volunteering opportunities available at locations across the region. Visit covidvaccinejobs.nenc.com now to see how you can play your part in fighting the virus.
Oh, Kaz was upset and I didn't know what to say.
Jenny was great. She just listened.
4 hours to get to the coast.
I got to see the sea.
And I burnt Kaz's birthday cake.
That cake was rank, but making it was wicked.
As a foster carer, your bad day could be their best day. The Children's Family Trust are not-for-profit and offer real support for their carers.
Apply for the world's most rewarding career.
Search the Children's Family Trust.
नमस्कार, एक विशेष सूचना गर्भवती स्त्रियों के लिए जो NHS ENI की तरफ से दी जाती है। साक्षर बताते हैं कि गर्भवती स्त्रियों में विटामिन डी की कमी होती है जो कोविड-19 की चपेट में आ सकते हैं। इसीलिए ये सलाह दी जाती है कि गर्भवती स्त्रियां प्रतिदिन एक 10 माइक्रोग्राम विटामिन डी की गोली लें। ये दवाएं सुपरमार्केट्स और फार्मेसी के काउंटर पर उपलब्ध हैं। गर्भावस्था के दौरान विटामिन डी लेना बहुत सुरक्षित है। ये सलाह NHS की तरफ से दी जाती है। अगर आपको अपने या नवजात शिशु के स्वास्थ्य की चिंता है तो आप जल्द से जल्द मदद लीजिए। मैटरनिटी यूनिट से संपर्क करें जहां आपने अपने बच्चे की बुकिंग की है। ये सूचना भी आपको NHS ENI की तरफ से दी जाती है। अधिक जानकारी के लिए कम्युनिटी मिडवाइफ या GP से संपर्क करें।
The community by the community. Spice FM 98.8 FM.
Right. There's an echo.
My goodness, Ammar.
Are you okay?
Good morning.
Morning.
Why is there that big echo that I can hear?
It's gone. I think it was because there were two connections. Spice F.
You're going to say it's because the ads went on for so long, it's kind of left a echoey sensation within the rest of our show.
Yeah. Sorry, one of the things that I needed to say, because we are broadcasting live digitally, you need to turn your phone on its side.
Cool. There you go.
Yeah. So, anyway, are you okay?
Yeah, good.
You're listening to Ammar and Jalf on our weekly. Sorry, I do normally let you go. You're listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
Live. That was my fault. That was why I was stepping in. This is the Jalf and Ammar show, is what it is. Live on our weekly show on Spice FM and across the globe, digitally and on video, pretty much everywhere now.
Yeah, amazing. And each week we're going to try and bring some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider communities.
And we'll be talking what?
What? Quite.
I've lost my lines. I'm on today. We'll be talking shop. No, we would. We will. I think we're gonna have to give my one a miss because I've totally gonna fluff my lines because I don't know what's happened to them. When you lose them, you've lost them.
Really?
So we'll be talking
nice
shop
stuff.
quite literally, not just corner shops. Or they looking to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
We can help, and we do help. So thanks for tuning in. Lovely to be here. Missed you last week. It was although you were keen, I was.
I know. I was ready and raring to go.
Yeah, it was Good Friday. It was Good Friday. And it was Easter weekend, and this week, it's a short week. But isn't it funny that it's almost been one of the longest, shortest weeks? Do you not think?
It's been so short, Ammar. It's been so incredibly short. It's been painful. I think what they should do is they should do something, because when you have a 4-day week, you're under so much stress,
Yeah.
incredible levels of stress, because you lose a day and you just can't make that up. That 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours that we do, it's just absolute pain trying to catch that up.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So it's been yeah, it's been so much to do, but anyway, it's not a bad thing.
And how's things, Jeff? Are you preparing? Are you ready?
Yeah, we are. I think the whole city is preparing them all. Obviously, we're based in the city centre every day. When you walk around the streets, you would never have thought that we're still in a lockdown, for sure. There is lots and lots of people on the streets. There's lots of construction happening around the city, whether you've got the big 55 degrees north in and around that area, you've got the big Reuben Brothers development. So the old car park that was there, do you know the old bus station where no the taxis used to be? That's all flattened. I don't know if you've been. Yeah, it's all flattened. So all of those parking spaces that were there in that multi-story, not that multi-story park, that big car park, near 55 degrees, that's gone. You've got the old bus station, that's all flattened. So there's a huge activity happening around there. They've got a big multi-use development, commercial, leisure, and residential. So that's going to be big for the city. And then in and around Grey Street, you've got all the bars and restaurants and cafes, taking advantage of the kind of easing of the pavement cafes and the license for pavement cafes. So there's lots of action happening there. But interestingly, Omar, just in front of us, Sabatini's. So they've got, because you need a 1 meter clearance for you to have this pavement cafe.
Yeah.
But what they've done is they've gone into the road and taken up 3 parking spaces, and they're kind of creating a decking area on the road.
Is that what was being built there like a couple of weeks back, right?
Yeah, I think obviously the city council have become so relaxed in terms of giving the planning permission for pavement cafes that they're letting people go onto the streets and take away parking spaces. And I personally, I'm against that. Personally, I have nothing against Sabatini. It's a fantastic operation. But I mean, once you keep on taking away parking spaces, I mean, who's going to come into the city centre? That's what my worry is for the long term.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. And I mean, statistically, I was just looking at some statistics this morning, seeing that in Newcastle, there were nearly 50 new pavement cafes.
50.
Yeah.
In the city centre.
New.
In the city centre.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, look, it's a brilliant initiative. I guess one thing, if you imagine as individual operators, if we were trying to promote pavement cafes, and you've got obviously the issue with the weather and what have you, we would probably find it very difficult. But if it's an initiative that's taken with the government, with the local councils, they may help us change the culture of the public in terms of accepting and wanting to sit out on a pavement cafe to have drinks and have food in the cold weather. And that's the most critical thing, because how many weeks of sun are we going to get? Now, I think that's not a bad thing, but my grievance is that shouldn't be you shouldn't punish parking spaces or people wanting to get into the city centre with that facility, because whilst you're doing all of these pavement cafes and people, you make life more difficult for people to enter into the city centre. Today or tomorrow, that's going to have a lasting impact. And that's what makes me nervous about the city centre. I don't think that's the way to tackle the donut that we're living in at the moment, where the city centre is lost so much business. And the business has moved to the outskirts. So yes, pavement cafes may help give you an extra addition in terms of the attraction that every venue could offer itself. But there needs to be a lot more things done than just the pavement cafes. And for me, when I'm speaking to customers and members of the public and guests coming into restaurants, Their biggest issue is getting into the city centre. And I think that's going to be even made more difficult if they start putting congestion charges for those wanting to cross certain areas, which is a vital crossing point for them to get into the city. Because are they going to then come into the city? No, they're not. Where they're going to go, they're going to go to the outskirts. But the outskirts are thriving at the moment anyway. So combination of Newcastle City Council and anyone, they really need to, roll up the sleeves and give us some world-class solutions. They need to really speak and do case studies on venues or issues with other cities around the world, and give us if they want to call Newcastle an international city, then they need to give us an international solution.
Oh, and I can fully agree and understand that, Jalf. It's without a doubt, it is challenging when there are so many additional factors. Now, I do think there's going to be, and we've been saying this for quite some time, there's a novelty aspect of people being able to get back out and get to places and spaces where they haven't been able to. But do not know how long that will actually last. And if there's more barriers and if there's more blockers that prevent people, so parking's a big deal, right? People would want to just come out in their car just to have a drink or have some food. And if the city centre has lost hundreds of spaces, which it has, through the various restrictions and the loss of car parking and all of that, then that's going to just simply drive out people further. The likes of Jesmond, the likes of these suburban areas where Ponteland, it'll be thriving. It already is. There's people already walking, getting takeaways all of the time. There's one of the pubs has a doorway entrance where they're serving drinks and teas and coffees, and they have an outdoor space where there's market stalls and things like that have been going on for takeaway purposes. So people are just going to go, I don't want to go somewhere where it's hard for me to go.
Of course, Ammar. I remember experiences of number of customers at Dabwal. They booked tables for 8 o'clock and they were so apologetic. They said, look, it's 7:45 and I've been ringing, I've been going around and around and around, and I just can't find one parking space. Where can I go and park? And I mean, if you think about it now, if someone asks me that question, what am I going to say to them? Grey Street is finished. That huge car park space next to 55 Degrees North is finished. You've got all the bus station, the old bus station, or the where you could park. And it wasn't a nice place to park, Ammar. It wasn't a nice place to park, but you could still park. You can get 100 cars there, possibly. So all of that area is gone. So, I mean, am I supposed to say to our customers, go and park at Manners or something and have a 30 minutes walk into the city centre? Is that what the plan is for the city? Is that the plan for the city council? Is that their plans for the public? Or do they want people to get the bus? Or do they want them to drive in their bikes? Because there's lots of bike lanes at the moment. Maybe they can try and push that culture amongst the Geordies, go for a drink on your bike.
I think it's
or
illegal.
The Geordies might say, go for a drink. They might say, on your bike, city council.
I think it might be illegal.
What, illegal to what, ride and drink and ride?
Yeah.
Is it? It's not drink and drive, is it?
Yeah, I think there are. I'm not 100%, but I'm 99%.
Oh, they could have a grand plan that they want people to come in on these skateboard things. Have you seen them?
I've seen
The
those
orange
electric
skateboard.
scooters.
Oh, the scooters, sorry. They might be wanting everyone to come in on the scooters.
Yeah. I think there are electric scooters, which I think they're
The scooters. The scooters.
How do they work? Have you?
Well, okay, so it's a bit like Boris's bikes, right? So you've got an app. You go on the app, and you can pick a scooter up from wherever you want. But the only thing is, the scooter's got a zone, Ammar, so you can't cross that zone. So it leaves you on the periphery of. If you wanted to get somewhere, there's going to be a point where the scooter just stops because there's a certain range that it works within.
Really?
Yeah. And I tell you what I saw the other day. It was just amazing, right? There was a guy, you know, the Segway thing where it's just a wheel. And if you imagine there's a wheel and there's two little angles for you to put your legs on each side. And there was a guy who was going about 30 to 40 miles an hour, just standing. And I was like, have I just seen something? And apparently there are these Segways, the one really electric, not a vehicle, electric, whatever you want to call it, unit. And they are, you're beginning to see some of those in the city centre as well. And there's no laws against electric vehicles.
Well, I think you'll find there is.
Well, apparently, when I was questioning this guy, he was saying that there isn't. The police said if you're sensible about it, then you're okay.
I'm once again relatively certain that there are laws about any mechanical vehicle
Right.
being in charge of a mechanical vehicle. Now, electric scooters and electric, all of those type of things, as I understand it, can't be on a path and can't be on a road. So there's an
We would just hover above the two.
on the curb is what you do.
Yeah.
You know, so it's yeah. Look, it's going to be interesting, right? So have you managed to get out and put something outside, Jalf?
So we've got a couple of, we're still waiting for the permission. We had to put our insurance up from public liability insurance from 2 million to 10 million. So by the time we got the insurance papers back, which cost us another £958 just to do that. So that's another investment. And then we decided to create a border with plants. With plants.
All right.
Another plant, right?
Okay.
So the council have said to us that your plants will give you permission, but as long as you bring the plants in against the front wall at the end of every night. But we've created an L-shaped border with the plants, and you can't move plants like that into the restaurant or into the front wall, if that makes sense. So we're still having a debate with the council about that. So we should have something. Hopefully, we should be able to iron out these little issues with them. I mean, I've done an L-shaped border with some plants, but the rest of the city, they've got big, huge constructions done with MDF and decking board that you just get from juicers. And you try to be a bit creative and bring some plants from Costa Rica and Brazil and South America to create something a bit different. But I guess you get kind of discriminated against that. Well, that's how I feel anyway. So yeah, so we're still trying to explain the value of having something kind of tropical and interesting as opposed to some pieces of MDF in your shop front. So hopefully we'll get the message through eventually.
Fair enough. Good. And are you all set?
Hmm?
Are you all set?
We're getting there. Yesterday, we went into Phoenix, Ammar, and Phoenix is looking amazing. As in Phoenix, the store is. I mean, they are like ready.
Yeah.
There's not one speck of dust in the whole of Phoenix. They've had the painters and decorators in. They've tidied it up. They've rearranged it. It's looking really, really fresh, and hopefully that'll get off to a flying start because we're in Phoenix, and we're creating an amazing space in Phoenix. But I just think that I could feel a lot of energy yesterday because, you know, when you're seeing lots and lots of people going in and setting up their areas and it felt really nice seeing people back to some kind of normality.
Cool. I think it's exciting, to be honest. It's very exciting that the Prime Minister has stood by and stuck to his word of, look, we're going to continue with this unlockdown.
Ammar, if they did anything now, I think there will be riots in the streets, because there's people are spending millions and millions and millions and millions of pounds. You can't turn around and say that, oh, I'm sorry, we're not going to let you open on the 12th. I mean, there will be uproar, because the amount of money that's been spent, Ammar, on this new reopening. It's like opening your businesses again, because you have to revise so many things and refresh so many things. For example, the pricing of your prices on menus, because in the last 6 months since the last lockdown, end of October, everything has skyrocketed. You've had Brexit since that point, so there's so many new considerations that every single operator needs to make. So all the prices, I mean, everywhere you go and dine now, don't expect to be paying the prices that you paid 6 months ago.
Right.
I just don't think that's going to happen, because all the prices have gone up of everything.
What?
So if the suppliers are hitting us with some huge price increases, like incredible price increases, you have no choice but to pass that on to the customer, the end user, and it's sad, but I think that's just how it is.
Interesting.
So, and the delays of getting supplies still because of Brexit, it's absolute pain. It's real pain. So there's lots of challenges that are going to be there. I think as we've said all along, Ammar, it's all about. We're still living in a bit of a false economy at the moment, because some of the operators are hanging in there with the skin of their teeth. And if they put all the eggs in one basket, and they think that, oh my God, that's it, we're going to open up on the 12th and we're going to smash it, and we're going to be able to kind of get through the losses and pay our debt and get back to normality. I don't know if that's the right way to go, because if you haven't been in the game and the game has changed, and you're not recognized that, and you're not versatile and you haven't adapted, you may open up to not that many people visiting your venue. And if your hopes are that, yes, I'm going to make a killing for the first few weeks, it may not be the case for everybody. So I think, and once the support stops, and that's when the game begins.
Yeah. And
that's not too far away, is it? Another couple of months, the furlough stops, everything stops.
Well, I think lots of people who started taking their loans out, have now started to have to repay them. So it'll be interesting, Jalf, to see the level of businesses that are closing or forced to close.
And Ammar, for example, you're going to have debts no matter what. You've got lots of debt that's accrued. What about when the business rates holiday? Apparently that's only until June. So you've got a couple of months to get your business stabilized and then start paying the big rates. I mean, there shouldn't be any more rates for the rest of this year.
Well, I mean, equally, we have to recover.
I think they should give businesses 6 months to get things back on track. You've locked it down for 6 months. Give the businesses 6 months to get things organized and reset and go from there.
I think what we need to do is get to a stage where we have fully unlocked down.
Yeah.
The economy it's never going to be back to normal. People keep using this phraseology or terminology of normal, and it's not going to be normal. This is a new world now. How we live, how we operate, how we engage, it's distinctly different. But in any event, once all of the restrictions are relaxed and everybody is able to do pretty much whatever they want, we're always going to be now living with a pandemic, right? We're going to live with a pandemic, and this is just a pandemic. There's a series of pandemics which will spin out of this, and don't forget that with any type of virus and any type of ailment of this ilk, it is always a couple of steps ahead of us. It's always, there's a new variant, there's a new variant, there's a new variant. So we're going to be not dissimilar, to a flu, right? Now, if you think about the flu kills thousands of people every single year. People go and get a flu jab, right? And this is the first time since we've recorded in history that we haven't had pretty much any fundamental recorded deaths as a consequence of the flu. And
yeah, but why is that, Ammar?
Well, okay, because no one was seeing or meeting anyone, as in
because COVID is the flu.
Okay, but the viruses are spread through interaction. Viruses are spread through engagement. Viruses are spread from person to person. We are the carriers. We are what spread the virus. So we're going to have to live with a pandemic. We're going to have to live with these type of things. What we're going to have to do.
Well, you don't have to live with those things. Why? You can't even breathe, man. Don't breathe. Breathe some fresh air.
All right.
Don't breathe bloody breathe particles of your clothes.
Okay. You're breathing in. Listen, if that protects me and saves my life, I'd walk around with that.
Well, the virus is small enough to get through the pores of your piece of cloth. You do know that, don't you?
I'm not suggesting it gives us 100% protection. It gives you some level of protection. That's a matter of fact. It varies dependent upon the type of face covering you use, but it does.
Your one's a proper protective one, isn't it? All I can see is your eyes, man. It's like a letterbox situation going on. You just need one of those hats.
Well, people used to ridicule nuns and burqas and all of them. Now there's some.
Now everyone looks like one.
There's a practical element. There's some madness in those ways that we could all learn from. It wasn't just purely a protection. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it really interesting? And just to be slightly controversial, because it's a rarity that we are, right? But the basis.
It's a rarity that you are.
Yeah. Well, all right. And actually, I do need to, because we're going to move on to something really positive, really amazing. Yeah. We're going to move on to Ashley King's coming in from TEDx Newcastle University. Ashley's going to be joining us in about 10-15 minutes to talk about this event on Sunday, and it's amazing, Jeff. But anyway, let's just be slightly controversial. Here's the thing, right? And of course, people's views are distinctly different, but and it's not just Islam. The various religions have always encouraged females and males to cover up, but females more than otherwise. And it's a choice, and it's a choice based on protection, feeling safe, feeling secure, and a whole range of reasons why we should cover up. Some of them, believe it or not, have health benefits to protect you from the rays of the sun. Now, the sun causes cancer. Everyone sort of knows that. You spend too much time in the sun, it's not good for your health, it's not good for your eyes, it's not good for a whole host. You need some element of sun, but not to the degree of that you should. And then alongside that, there's all of these, like, as you say, everybody's keen to now cover up, aren't they? And
I think another thing, Ammar, where culturally, where this kind of clothing originate from. I think there was it was obviously there was a lot of it was in a desert land. There's lots of dust and sand, and when the wind blows, I think it covers from that going into your ears, going into your mouths. In some instances, there's even something that covers. There's a netting in front of the eyes, and I think that's probably for that. That's where it probably originated from, because it's more a cultural attire as opposed to a religious one, isn't it? Because in religion, it doesn't say that you cover your face, because you just cover your hair for modesty, but not your face. So I think there's that misunderstanding that is there, kind of on that particular attire. But it's interesting that how obviously the whole of society is encouraged to do that these days.
Oh, it's incredible, isn't it? It's what it is. So you know, for me, there's a whole shift in what we do, how we do it. Anyway, coming back to that point around pandemics and the impact of it, we're going to live with this for a very, very long time. We're going to live with this pandemic for, I genuinely believe, for the rest of my life. And you know, it'd be a shame if I fell down like later on today, but and then that's a matter of fact. But I'd argue that we're going to be living with some level of pandemics for as long as I'm aware, you know, as long as I believe we exist now. And picking up that point around flu, everyone gets a flu jab, they get some level of protection. There's nothing's 100% protection, but that's what we're going to be forced to do. So hence, we're going to see a bit more restrictions in how we live, literally, how we walk around, what type of things we use, even things like, you know, there's this furor, this fury, this anger with the passports that they're referring to. You know, there's the fact that you're going to need a COVID passport. Now, you know, the thing with that is, I personally wouldn't want to be in a room or in a place, in a bar, in a restaurant, in a cafe, anywhere where potentially I was going to get the virus. Would you purposefully put yourself at risk?
I think this is, of course you wouldn't, but my views would be, it's good for us to have this debate, because I come from, my views are totally opposite of your views.
Yeah, good.
So, but you know, that's the beauty of our show and opinions that we have. I personally feel that the vaccination passports are wholly wrong. And I think that's it's like discriminatory. And if someone chooses not to have the vaccine, there could be lots of different reasons. Let me give you an example of a gentleman that I know. He had the vaccine, the first one. He's in his 60s, and it had an adverse effect on himself. And the doctor said to him that, look, I'm advising you not to go and have the second part of the vaccine. So now he's in limbo. So for that reason, should he be not allowed to go to a restaurant because of that reason? I think that's discrimination. And I think that's wrong to have a society where there could be so many different reasons why certain individuals are not having the vaccine or don't want to have the vaccine. I know some females, they don't want to have the vaccine because they think that it's going to affect them having babies and things like that. Should they not be allowed to go to a bar and go to a restaurant? I think everyone should act responsibly, because if you have symptoms of, I mean, we've noticed at work, if anyone sneezes, we're like, oh, hold on, you've sneezed. Oh, hold on, you've got a cough. Are you sure you're okay? I think we're acting very, very responsibly, and we're making sure that we create an environment where anyone who is under the weather, simply we're saying to them, don't come into work. So if that's the environment, and hopefully society, they respect everyone else, and if they've got symptoms, even if it's not COVID, but if you've got symptoms of cold or flu symptoms, then stay away from the workplace. Don't go out and be amongst other members of the public. I think that's the way to go. But in terms of giving us a digital ID and a barcode eventually, which is where it's going to lead to, that every single human being is going to have a barcode, and there's going to be eye scans and this and that and everything else wherever you go. I don't know if that big brother state is the right thing for humanity. Personally, that's my view. But obviously there's going to be a counter argument, which will be your one. So I hand the floor over to you, sir.
And we live in a lovely, democratic, liberal society, is undoubtedly where we live. And I certainly am not one for telling people what to do. However, at the very same time, if it's an option, and you know, that example that you've used is undoubtedly a very valid one, and I agree with that example wholeheartedly. If there are compelling reasons for you not to have had the vaccine, or not even have wanted to have the vaccine, you know, if there are, my point was purely, I do not want to go into an environment where I'm putting myself, my family, and those close to me and my friends at risk, or even, you know, those that I work with and such like. Now, if there is a choice and an option that enables me with some level of certainty and some level of comfort that I can go there, and I know that, you know, it's never going to be 100%. I'm always going to put myself at risk. I'm putting myself at risk jumping in the car, driving my car. Someone might come and, you know, hit me and I might die. I might walk out in the street and get run over by a bus. I don't know that for a fact. However, I wouldn't purposefully sit in my car with a blindfold on, or I wouldn't cross the road with a blindfold on. So why would I do that by going into a venue, not knowing that there's potentially, if I go to a concert and people haven't sort of demonstrated that I mean, would you go to a match and there's no way of determining the thousands of people that you sat next to have got COVID or not? Would you not rather be in a position and some level of security and comfort that, you know, that whatever checks could be done, whatever support has been offered, and whatever you could do to prevent the spread of the virus? You know, you might sit there and go, oh, well, I'm not going to have the vaccine. But, you know, for me, that's quite selfish, because you're thinking about yourself, right? I think you need to start thinking about other people, Jeff, is what you need to start doing. But yeah. Anyway, that's my view. Over to the floor is now yours, sir.
Well, no, I think I've made my point. Obviously, there's going to be differences in opinions and stuff. Look, there's huge debate about the vaccine, for sure, because, you know, you're having a look. I just hope that, genuinely, I sincerely hope that everyone that has the vaccine, that it covers them, vaccinates them against COVID. But the fact is that it's not a vaccine that is 100% gives you cover, as the other vaccines do, that we would regularly have had when we've gone away on holiday to Bangladesh or wherever we've been to. There's a number of vaccines we've had all of our lives, and the malaria ones or whatever, and that gives you a security and a guarantee. With this one, with these particular ones that are out there, you know, there's you know, the Oxford vaccine is banned in 20 countries. I mean, doesn't that makes me a little bit nervous as to why something is banned and I should then put that into my body? I feel very nervous about it because I'm not sure that I'm of the view that I want to develop my immune system the best I can and make sure that I'm healthy as I possibly can be. And should my calculation is that the risks of getting COVID against putting something into my body which is not 100% guarantee that it's not going to have an adverse effect on me. You know, what if I'm one of the unlucky ones that gets the blood clot out of it? Now should I put myself at risk, as opposed to getting the blood clot in my head, in my brain, as opposed to me getting the flu that I could potentially fight because my immune system is strong? So that's a perfectly legitimate and a fair view that I have, and I think you know, we should be entitled to have that view, because it's not a controversial view that I have. It's just a simple, logical opinion that I have, and I think we should all be. That view shouldn't mean that society starts to criminalize me for having that view or discriminates against me for having that view, because that's when I think it's a very, very irresponsible society that we would be creating. And I think I can see how that's going to be the agenda for society at large to take the thoughts of the public in that direction. But I think from what I know of the general public, there are good-hearted, genuine people that especially in Newcastle, the Geordies, they have an empathy towards other people in society at large, and that's one of the great things about the Geordies.
Just thinking about empathy and sympathy and all of that. We love you, Jalf. You decide what you want to do, but I'm not seeing you. Don't come here. Let's get Ashley into this show, and let's brighten up the day, and let's talk about what's going on in the world, and indeed, more importantly, what's going on locally. Good morning, Ashley.
Hello, so nice to see you, Ammar, and lovely to meet you and your colleagues.
Thank you.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Jalf.
This is the multi-award winning super duper co-host presenter Jalf. Do you know him, Ashley, or not?
I do not, but I'm delighted to meet you, Jalf, and I would like to hear more about you, so I'm going to look you up after this call.
Absolutely, but today we're going to focus on yourself, Ashley, and find out really what you're up to and all the interesting things that Ammar has told me about. So I'm intrigued.
Sure.
Yeah, your story.
Absolutely. Well, where do you want to start, Ammar?
At the beginning, Ashley. So let's start by introducing who you are, what you do, why you do it, and then we'll move on to this a relatively small event that's taking.
Relatively small. I haven't slept for days. I'm Ashley King. I am a creative. I really love people from all walks of life and backgrounds, and I love art and just doing things in different glittery ways sometimes. So I love to podcast. I have a podcast called Nurture Your Zest, and I've got various different shows on that cover different topics. But I am also someone who has their own business. So I'm a small business called AK Creative Consultancy, where I do digital marketing and events. So at the moment, it's all virtual events or hybrid events. And what else do you need to know about me? I work at Newcastle University as Alumni Relations Manager, which is awesome because I graduated there with an MBA in 2020.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I've just learned some things that I didn't know. So yeah, that's great. And why do you do it? Why do you do the things that you do?
Sure. I think for me, I always grew up around hustle and bustle and different people. So I'm from South Africa originally, and I just love creative chaos, I guess you could say. So I've always been involved in the creative industry through my mom and dad. And I just love to see and learn about different cultures and different people's experiences. So I think that's probably what lights me up the most. And because I get so much from it too, I learn so much from others.
Amazing. Thank you for that. And once again, you're learning something new every day. Tell us about this incredible event that you have planned. You haven't slept for a couple of years rather than a couple of days.
Yeah, that's so true. So
where did it start? Actually, where did it start? So tell us.
Sure. Absolutely. So I went to a TEDx Newcastle University event in 2018, and I was so amazed by this event because students organized it. And at the time, I don't know what I was expecting. I'd heard of TED, I'd heard of TEDx talks and TED Talks. And so I went along, but I was so blown away by the effort and the input and the quality of the production that was put together by students, you know, from the lighting to the set and the stage and the art. And I was just so moved by what they were doing. And so straight away from that first event, I just felt so excited and enthusiastic about how I could help this event grow. You know, did I have any networks that I could connect these students with? And then I went to study my MBA. And so I thought, well, I'm going to be a student. So why don't I go for president of the society? And so that's what I did. And I have to say, if you do an MBA, it's so intense. It's probably not the best thing to do to pick up a president of a society at the same time. But I did. And one of the things that we noticed right away, since you asked about the beginning, was that for our event to run, we just wouldn't be able to do it with the license we had from TEDx. So it was limited to 100 people, which meant we couldn't sell many tickets, and our sponsors didn't want to support us because it was such a small reach. So I decided to go to California and increase our license. And I funded that myself, and I took a student, Gabrielle, with me. And the two of us went, we had to do our work while we were there, our student work, do our assignments. But we went to California at our own expense, got the license so we could have bigger events. And then we worked on this amazing face-to-face event with creatives and artists and stilt walkers and hula hoopers and all kinds of things, a student art exhibition. And then COVID happened and we had to withdraw our program. And so we've been working on our event since 2019, but we're so excited that against all odds, we're able to put this on this coming Sunday as a fully virtual event. And I just don't know how, it's happened, but sometimes you don't need to know how, you just have to believe.
Amazing. And what a lovely story, and what true passion and determination. So I appreciate there's going to be few and far between, but actually tell us a little bit more about TED and TEDx, please, just for our broader community, and what is it, and why was it created, and all of that type of thing.
Absolutely. So TED started in the States in around the 80s, but it was a series of inspirational talks, and it was centered around technology, entertainment, and design, which is why TED are the words used. But it grew so fast and it was so popular that then they decided to create an X, which is an independently organized version. So those are run by volunteers. They're all over the world. You know, when no one running a TEDx event is paid, so it's very much an organizing team that run it in every country or in every town. Tends to be with a university or an NHS location or a place. So we have TEDx Newcastle in the UK, we have TEDx Durham, TEDx Newcastle College, there's so many. But basically how it works is it's just really inspiring talks from people from different backgrounds, different industries, and, you know, talking about an idea. So it's quite interesting what you see, because I mean, some of the people in our program I would never have thought to go and watch or read about, but actually their talks are so interesting. So we've got one called Imagine an Eagle World. That's all about algae, and it's about the power of algae and why it matters so much to us. And actually that is a student who won a place as part of our student speaker competition. And just to hear about his research, I mean, that's amazing. I would never have ever thought to investigate algae, but I've got a new perspective of how important it is now.
And Jalf, have you watched any TEDx's? Or
I have over the years, definitely. I think what I take from them is, you know, the unique, as Ashley says, unique independent stories, and definitely inspiring for sure. But I have a couple of questions for you, Ashley, in terms of, you know, you mentioned initially that you were struggling with the sponsors and what have you. Have you managed to get over that hurdle?
So we're very fortunate to have had some sponsorship this year from some small businesses that have been kind to support us. I should say sponsorship has been challenging. Our entire event has been funded primarily by me, but by us as students. So we're not officially supported by, say, the university or the student union. We'd really love to build a case for that in the future, if that meets our university's agenda and strategy. But I think it's worth saying that for anyone who's organizing an event of this caliber and this production quality, it actually takes quite a bit of doing. And that's because TED as a brand has quite particular standards. So you, for instance, need to have really high quality performance recordings, because although people joining us will watch a live performance, we've actually pre-recorded our talks and filmed on the 13th of March. We had to do that in a safe space, follow lots of COVID regulations. We had to work with, a video team and editors. And although they've been brilliant in terms of their rates, they've given us a lot of in-kind sponsorship, all of that still needs to be paid for. And so that's part of the TEDx experience. And as a volunteer or as a licensee for myself and Gabrielle, my co-licensee, we kind of had to take that on. So if you're going to do a TEDx event, you really need to commit to it, regardless of what sponsorship you bring in. So yeah, I have to be honest, Jeff, it's been a bit challenging at times, but I think it's been fun too. We've been very creative.
So from your business plan perspective then, so you've invested quite a bit of money and lots of time. And is the return, is it to give to us, the members of the public, something that we've never experienced before? And is that what's going to make you feel really happy and really proud? Or is there a way where you're going to draw some money back beyond the sponsorship?
Well, I think it's fair to say we're selling tickets. We'll be selling tickets right up to the event. We've got around 250 delegates coming now, which is great. Okay. And we know from experience with virtual events that they sell right up to the event. So I think it's worth saying, I don't think we'll make back what we've put in on this event. For me personally, this wasn't a business plan for me. It was more of I saw this as an opportunity when I went to that event in 2018 to support these students. And, for me at the time, I'm a bit older than some of my colleagues. I'm 33. So knowing I was doing an MBA would give me the opportunity to practice leadership skills. What better time to practice leading than when you're really busy and in an intensive program, and actually during COVID as well. So we've really explored a lot of unique challenges. And I think as well, Jeff, a really important point to make here is our students who are volunteering on this are working from across the world. So we're not face to face with each other. We've got colleagues working from India, Israel, Pakistan, Poland, Lithuania, the Czech Republic, China, Belfast, just so many places in the world. And so, the opportunity to learn how to put on an event like this by doing it via virtual chats and planning and all kinds of time zones, I think it's been really powerful.
Amazing. Seems like such an amazing story.
Can you just briefly talk about the program, Ashley?
Sure. So we have 8 carefully curated TEDx talks. So just to say what I mean by that, you asked about the history of TED and TEDx. These talks will go on the official TEDx channel and YouTube channel and this kind of thing. So we've had to follow TEDx coaching procedures, and they've been formally recorded. We also have a very special in conversation with Professor Richard Clay and Reverend Professor Keith McGee that we're really excited about. Professor Keith McGee is joining us from Washington, D.C. He does a lot of work with the White House, does a lot of work with social justice. So we're really excited about that talk. It's about democracy. Has it grown up? What is democracy today? So that's the thing I'm most excited about. We've got some performers that are top secret that you'll find out soon. We've got 8 workshops that people can choose from. So, anyone attending, there's a workshop opportunity in the morning and the afternoon. So really people can attend for as little or as much as they want during the day. But I think the main thing to say is it's going to be very interactive because it's through a virtual platform. So it's not a Zoom call. It's actually a virtual platform called Hopin that they can use to kind of chat alongside while watching the speakers. Or my favorite feature is for our sponsors, we have virtual expo booths. So they can actually, our sponsors can share a bit about their organization or their office with our attendees, but the attendees can go and look at their own leisure in their lunch and register interest if they want to, click on the links. So it's quite a new way of doing a booth because you don't have someone behind a table. You've got more of an interactive experience. And, we've got a virtual gift bag. We've got special goodies that people can download. There's just been so much work go into this. I'm really excited about the program and I really hope people like it.
Fantastic. We're going to run out of time.
I know.
Ashley. Just to pick up on that point around support. So clearly, this is an event that's happening on Sunday, but the ambition is to continue that engagement, that dialogue. You know, the whole title of the event is Imagine a World, and you've got a series of key and core topics around that. And actually, you know, it couldn't be any more timely, could it, to bring communities together, to bring, you know, connect students, businesses, community groups, individuals, all of that. I mean, that's particularly important, isn't it?
Mark, just very quickly,
We're being told that the
I just wanted
AstraZeneca
to warn Ashley
coronavirus
that we might have an abrupt end sometimes.
No,
with Spice if I'm cutting us off.
All right, no, because what I can do is we can continue, and I've just muted them, and I'll remove Spice out of this, and we can continue broadcasting the way that we are and recording this.
Excellent.
So we finish up on time. You give me 2 seconds whilst I put them in the waiting room and put that in the waiting room. There we go. Yeah, sorry, Jeff, what were you going to say?
Good. No, we're all good now. I was just about to say let's inform Ashley to an abrupt end, but if you change the system, then that's all good.
No, just very, very briefly. I just I thought we wanted to end on, you know, rather than that abrupt.
Yeah, excellent.
Because there's a big time difference from where we are and Spice FM. I think it's a different, unique time zone, is what it is. I don't know why that is, but I'm hoping that at some point they'll fix their clock and get it right. But Ashley, why should somebody come along, and what should they expect from this experience?
Sure. Well, hopefully if anyone comes along, they'll feel what I felt the first time I went to a TEDx Newcastle University event, which is just challenged, inspired. Your curiosity should be cultivated, your imagination unleashed, and hopefully this event will stay with you for some time, so that even long after the event, you're still thinking about some of the talks or things you learned. I want to say very quickly that this is our piece of art that a student created, and actually it lives in my house. But the whole point is this is our unique X, and you can see that the imagination is coming out of this person's mind. And for me, this really speaks to the colorful curiosities, you know, all the passion and the creativity that's really gone into this. And, you know, just to really finish off, I think the creative ways that you can do things with limited resources across the world. I think this is really something to see in terms of, wow, students have done this during COVID by themselves without much support. You know, I think it's really awesome, and I'm really proud of them. I can't thank them enough. And to our supporters as well, for yourself, Ammar, you know, thank you so much for getting behind us on this.
Pleasure and an honor, to be honest. As I said publicly yesterday, I'm very proud and super excited of what you've done, Ashley, what you're doing for us within the Northeast and what you've pulled together. So, you know, delighted to contribute and support however I can. And I'm sure Jalf will be reaching out and sponsoring you in the future. And
I'll certainly invite you to come and have lunch for sure.
Yeah, I would love to chat to you, Jalf. That would be great.
Yeah.
Jalf's got the best restaurants in the UK. If you're unaware of his, he's got Kai Kai and he's got Dabawal. So he's an incredible entrepreneur and a restaurateur. So, you know, do take up on that offer of a meal at his place whenever you can. Ashley, is the thing. But no, this was all about you. It's about, you know, this event on Sunday. And where can someone go for further details, Ashley? Where can they get a ticket?
Sure. The best place to get a ticket is actually to go on our TEDx Newcastle University website, because there are links on there. You can find them on our social channels as well, or you can type in Hopin, which is a virtual platform we're using, and search for Imagine a World, and you will find us. Yeah, there's still tickets. We'll still be selling tickets on the day. I would get yours soon though. One quick reason why is because we're giving away these beautiful pins. So the X that I showed you, this has been created into a special commemorative pin that we are sending out to people, but we only have 500 and we're already out by 250. So, you know, if you want one, you better jump in fast.
Great.
Very
Excellent.
cool.
We're going to keep pushing this out and promoting it because it's such a beautiful thing that's happening here virtually and inclusively. So you can dip in and out and you can come back to the content as well, can't you, Ashley, after the event?
You will be able to watch the TEDx official talks on the YouTube channel when they're uploaded by TED, but the rest of our pieces are live. So we're not recording those. So yes, there will be some opportunities to catch up with bits afterwards. We do have our virtual gift bag and, you know, all kinds of goodies and things. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot for people to participate in, as little or as much as they want. But I think the key thing just to finish with is, you know, one of the biggest values of TED and TEDx is to work with your local community and to co-curate something. And so this has happened for 2 years from 2019, this program. But if we run again, we really want to do that with the co-creation of our local community, our business community, you know, the ecosystems around us. So your support is so valued. And to anyone listening, if you want to get involved, you know, reach out to us. We might not get back to you straight away at the moment, but we will be in the following up of this event.
Fantastic. Excellent. Thank you ever so much, Ashley.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. And I will see you both soon. Bye.
Thank you. I hope it's an amazing success for you on Sunday.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
And that's the end of our show. Was that Ant and Dec? Do you watch Ant and Dec on a Saturday night, Jeff? Or not? Do you? No?
Was that Ammar? I didn't get that.
Oh, sorry. I said, do you watch Ant and Dec on a Saturday night?
Unfortunately not. No.
All right. Okay.
But I think they've changed it around, haven't they?
That's the end of
something, haven't they?
The what?
They've changed the names around, Ammar.
No.
They said that they were sick of being Ant and Dec, so the Dec and Ant now.
All right. I don't know about that. Anyway, you know, I think it's about time that it should be Ammar and Jaf rather than Jaf and Ammar. But
Right.
Anyway, you've been listening to
Jaf
and Ammar. There we go.
Right. Excellent. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.